Hello, everybody. I'm giving you all a big warm welcome to Warren's Team Talk. I hope that you're all well and fit and healthy and everything else. Thank you so much for coming back to visit me today. If you're new to the channel, I just want to give you a big warm welcome and hope that you enjoy your visit to me and my channel. And I hope you enjoy the new and exciting video that I've got lined up for you today. What I've got lined up for you today is episode 33 of England's most successful football club. And in this episode, I'm going to be looking at Aston Villa. So I'm sure that's going to be a really interesting one. They're a really big and famous club. And they have had a lot of success down the years, going back from when they even first started. Anyway, the Warren's Team Talk coach is ready and raring to go. The driver's revving the engine. So that means that he's ready for the off. So let's get on the road and go and visit our friends in Birmingham and find out all about Aston Villa. Now, just before we get on the road, I just want to remind you all that if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to my channel. Please hit the like button. And also, please share the content around with any of your friends, family, or anyone in particular that you think might be interested in seeing the video that I've got for you. Anyway, so all that's left to say is I hope you enjoy the show. So let's get on with it. So here we are. We've arrived up in Birmingham. We've stopped just outside Villa Park. We found somewhere to park, which is great. And so let's go in and see our friends from Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa, they finished 8th in the Warren's Team Talk table, and they managed to get 7,822 points. Now, Aston Villa, who are also known as the Villa or the Lions, were formed in 1874. The interesting story of how Villa were formed claims that 4 members of a local Wesleyan Chapel cricket team had met allegedly one cold winter's evening in 1874, and they were all really keen cricketers who wanted to keep their Villa Cross team together during the winter months. So they thought it would be a good idea to form a football club. The Villa has played all their home games at Villa Park since 1897. Now, the story as well about the way the club were formed. There was lots of different stories that I saw, but one of them that seemed quite interesting was that the people all met under a gaslight lamp in the street. I didn't even go to a bar or anything like that. So yeah, it all sounds a bit strange and cloak and dagger, really, if you ask me. But anyway, Aston Villa were one of the founder members of the Football League in 1888, and I should also point out that Aston Villa were the most successful club of the late Victorian and Edwardian eras, and are a traditional heavyweight of English football. Aston Villa's first ever match apparently was against the local Aston Brook St Mary's rugby team. And as a condition of the match, the Villa side had to agree to play the first half under rugby rules and the second half under association football rules. Now, sadly, there did not appear to be any record of what the score was or even how the game was scored. Given that one half was played under rugby rules and one half was played using association football rules. But there you go. I did find out, however, though, that this is nothing to do with football, this is about rugby, that originally in rugby, a try had no score value given to it. It just gave the team who had managed to get the try the opportunity to try and score a goal. And apparently this is the origin of what is now known as a conversion. So I found that quite interesting. It does seem to make quite a lot of sense if you think about it. Anyway, Aston Villa had their first success in the 1886-87 season when they reached the FA Cup final at the Kennington Oval in London. And on the way to the 1887 FA Cup final, they defeated the following opponents. In the first round, Wednesbury Old Athletic 13-0. The second round, Derby Midland 6-1. In the third round, they defeated Wolverhampton Wanderers 2-0 after 3 replays. In the fourth round, Notts County, and then both clubs were allowed to progress to the fifth round. Quite why that happened, I have no idea. I wasn't able to find that out. And then in the fifth round, they defeated Horncastle 5-0. In the sixth round, they defeated Darwin 3-2. And in the semi-final, they defeated Glasgow Rangers 3-1, who at the time, at the sort of near the end of the 19th century, there were a few Scottish clubs who were invited to play in the English FA Cup. So that's why that they were in the tournament. Then in the final, Aston Villa came up against West Bromwich Albion at the Kennington Oval, and Villa won the game by 2-0, thanks to goal by Archie Hunter and Dennis Hoggett in front of a crowd of 15,000. And then 2 years later, in the 1888-89 season, which was the first of the Football League, Villa secured a second-place finish by ending the season as runners-up and 11 points behind the all-conquering Preston North End team, who enjoyed an invincible season that year and finishing 1 point ahead of third-place Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then 3 years later, in the 1891-92 season, which was the last before the introduction of the first and second divisions, Villa successfully secured a fourth-place finish in the Football League when they finished 12 points behind that season's league champion Sunderland. And this season, they also reached the FA Cup final, where again they faced West Bromwich Albion. But on this occasion, the Baggies got their revenge for the defeat that Villa had inflicted on them 5 years earlier by winning the game by 3-0, thanks to goals from Reynolds, Nichols and Geddes. The next season, in the 1892-93 season, Aston Villa once again finished fourth in the First Division Tier 1 when they ended up 13 points adrift to the league champion Sunderland. And then for the next 7 years, Villa would have an incredible period of success by winning 5 First Division Tier 1 titles and 2 FA Cups. The first piece of silverware collected in the 1893-94 season came when they won the First Division Tier 1 title by finishing 6 points clear of second place Sunderland. And yeah, you can see that they managed to score 84 goals there in 30 games. And then the following season, in 1894-95, Villa followed up this title success by finishing 8 points behind the league champion Sunderland, and also third in the First Division, Tier 1. This season also saw Villa reach the second FA Cup final in 4 years. Now, the club reached the 1895 FA Cup final by facing the following opponents. Now, in the first round, they defeated Derby by 2-1 at home in the first round. In the second round, they defeated Newcastle United at home 7-1. And in the third round, they defeated Nottingham Forest 6-2 at home. And then in the semi-final, played at Ewood Park in Birmingham, they won by 2-1. Excuse me. Then in the final, Villa followed up their FA Cup victory by winning the and then in the final, they defeated their local West Midlands rivals, West Bromwich Albion, by 1-0, thanks to a guy by the name of Robert Chat, who scored in the first minute of the game. And then they followed up this FA Cup victory by winning the 1895-96 First Division Tier 1 title with a 4-point margin of victory over Derby County that season, who finished in second place. Then the next year, Aston Villa won the double of the First Division Tier 1 title and the FA Cup. The Villa won the First Division Tier 1 title 11 points clear of second place Sheffield United, and they reached the FA Cup final by defeating the following teams. They defeated Newcastle United 5-0 in the first round, Notts County 2-1 at home in the second round. In the third round, they first of all drew 1-1 away at Preston North End, and then in the first replay, they drew 0-0 at home again, and then in the third replay, the second replay, they finally won by 3-2 at home. And then in the semi-final, they defeated Liverpool at Bramall Lane to reach the FA Cup final. In the FA Cup final itself, they defeated Everton 3-2, thanks to goals from John Campbell in the 18th minute, George F. Weldon in the 35th minute, and James Crabtree in the 44th minute. And then in response, Everton scored in the 23rd minute to bring the game to 1-1. And then in the 28th minute, Richard Ball put the Toffees ahead by 2-1. And the game was played in front of a crowd of 65,000 and refereed by a chap by the name of John Lewis. I don't know if he had anything to do with the retail outlet, but still, there you go. Now, moving swiftly on, where are we now? So, hold on just a second. And on the day of this final, because the results that day had gone in Aston Villa's favour, it meant that they were also crowned as First Division Tier 1 League champions, and so along with their FA Cup victory, it meant they were confirmed as double winners. And today, it seems that no other team has been able to achieve the league and cup double on the same day. And then 2 years later, in the 1898-99 season, Aston Villa won yet another First Division Tier 1 League title when they finished 2 points clear of the chasing pack, which was led by Liverpool and at the top of the table. And then the following season, in 1899-1900, Villa won the First Division Tier 1 League title for the second year running, which was Villa's fifth First Division League Tier 1 League title success in 7 years. And they won this title by finishing 2 points clear at the top of the table, with Sheffield United being their nearest contenders in second place. 3 years later, in the 1902-1903 season, the Villa secured a second place finish in the First Division Tier 1, when they finished 1 point behind the Wednesday at the top of the table, and they finished equal on points with third place Sunderland, and they finished above the Black Cats courtesy of a superior goal average of 0.108 of a goal. And then 2 years after this second place finish, in the 1904-1905 season, the Villa finished the season in 4th place, 6 points adrift of the league champions that season, Newcastle United. This season also saw Aston Villa reach the FA Cup final once more, and on this occasion their route to the final included the following stops on the road. So they played, in the first round, they played Leicester Fosse and won by 5 goals to 1. In the second round, they defeated Bury at home by 3 goals to 2. In the third round, they defeated Fulham at home by 5 goals to 0. And then in the semi-final, played at Stoke City, or Stoke as they were known then, I think, Victoria Ground, when the game ended in a 1-1 draw there. And then in the replay, they defeated Everton at the City Ground in Nottingham. And then in the FA Cup final of 1905, which was played at the Crystal Palace Stadium, where over 101,000 people attended, Aston Villa defeated Newcastle United by 2 goals to 0, thanks to 2 goals by Joseph Hampton. And then 3 years later, in the 1907-1908 season, Villa went on to secure a second place finish in the first division after Tier 1, after they finished 9 points behind the league champions, Manchester United. Then after a further 2 years, Aston Villa again won the first division Tier 1 title when they finished 5 points ahead of second place Liverpool. And then the following season in 1910-11, Aston Villa faced Brighton and Hove Albion at Stamford Bridge in London for the FA Charity Shield, in a game which unfortunately for the Villa, they lost by 1 goal to 0, thanks to a goal by Charlie Webb in the 72nd minute. And this season also saw Villa finish 1 point below Manchester United in the first division Tier 1 to secure a second place finish in the first division. And then starting in the 1912-13 season, Aston Villa had 2 successive second place finishes, and in the 1912-13 season, they would finish 4 points behind the league champions, Sunderland. And then in the 1913-14 season, Villa finished runners-up to Blackburn Rovers by 7 points in the first division. And then also in the 1912-13 season, Aston Villa reached the FA Cup final when they faced Sunderland at the Crystal Palace Stadium in London. And to get to the final, Aston Villa defeated the following clubs. In round 1, they defeated Derby County 3-1. In the second round, they defeated West Ham United 5-0. And the third round, they defeated Crystal Palace 5-0. And in the quarter-final, they defeated Bradford Park Avenue by 5 goals to 0. And then in the semi-final, they defeated Oldham Athletic 1-0 in a game which was played at Ewood Park in Blackburn. And then in the final, Villa defeated Sunderland by 1 goal to 0, thanks to a goal from Tommy Barber in the 78th minute at the Crystal Palace Stadium in London, which was played, and that game was played in front of a crowd of over 120,000 people. Now, in the first season after World War I in 1919-1920, Aston Villa again reached the FA Cup final when they faced Huddersfield Town at Chelsea Stamford Bridge Stadium. And Aston Villa, en route to this final, defeated the following clubs. Round 1, they defeated Queen's Park Rangers by 2-1. And by the way, at that time, QPR were a non-league club. And the second round, they defeated Manchester United 2-1 away from home. In the third round, they defeated Sunderland by 1-0. In the quarterfinals, they defeated Tottenham Hotspur 1-0. And then Tottenham Hotspur were then in the second division. And then in the semi-final, Aston Villa defeated Chelsea by 3-1, which was played at Bramall Lane in Sheffield. And then in the final, which was played at Chelsea Stamford Bridge Stadium, Villa defeated Huddersfield Town by 1-0, thanks to a goal scored by William J. Curtin in the 100th minute, so in extra time. And then 4 years later, in the 1923-24 season, Villa reached the FA Cup final again, but on this occasion, unfortunately for them, they lost 2-0 to Newcastle United, which was Villa's first appearance at Wembley Stadium. The final went down in history to be known as the rainy day final because of the downpour that had happened for most of the day on the day of the cup final. And then 5 years after losing to Newcastle in the FA Cup final, Villa went on to secure a third place finish in the First Division Tier 1, and in the 1928-29 season, when they finished 2 points behind the league champions, the Wednesday, who would later be known as Sheffield Wednesday. The next season, 29-30, they finished 13 points behind league champions Sheffield Wednesday, who had prior to that season been known solely as the Wednesday. And Villa claimed a fourth place finish in the First Division Tier 1. And then in the 1930-31 season, Villa finished as runners-up to Arsenal in the First Division Tier 1 by 7 points. But then they also did finish 7 points ahead of third place Sheffield Wednesday. And 2 years after this, in the 1932-33 season, Villa again finished as runners-up to Arsenal in the First Division Tier 1. However, this time the deficit was cut down to just 4 points. And strangely enough, the third place team was again Sheffield Wednesday, the same as it was 2 years before. And then after being relegated in the 1935-36 season to the Second Division Tier 2, Aston Villa won promotion back up to the First Division Tier 1 in the 1937-38 season, when they won the Second Division Tier 2 title, when they finished 4 points ahead of second place Manchester United and third place Sheffield United. Villa didn't then have any further success until the 1956-57 season, when they reached the FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium. And en route to the final, Villa defeated Luton Town in the third round by beating Luton 2-0 after a replay after the first game had ended in a 2-2 draw. In the fourth round, they defeated Middlesbrough by 3-2. away from home. In the 5th round, they defeated Bristol City 2-1 at home. In the 6th round, they drew, first of all, 1-1 away at Burnley, before bringing them back to Villa Park and winning the game by 2-0 to reach the semi-final. And in the semi-final, Aston Villa and West Bromwich Albion drew 2-2 at Molineux, Wolverhampton's Wanderers ground. And in the semi-final replay, Aston Villa beat West Bromwich Albion by 1-0 at Birmingham St Andrews ground. In the final that year, Aston Villa defeated Manchester United by 2-1 at Wembley Stadium in front of a capacity 100,000 crowd, with Villa's Peter McParland scoring a brace for the Villa. And this victory gave Aston Villa their 7th FA Cup victory, which at the time was a record. And then 2 years later, in the 1958-59 season, Villa were relegated back to the 2nd Division, Tier 2. And then the next season, in the 1959-60 season, Aston Villa won the 2nd Division Tier 2 title when they finished 1 point ahead of 2nd place Cardiff City and 9 points ahead of 3rd place Liverpool, which meant that Villa won promotion back to the 1st Division Tier 1. And then by the 1970-71 season, Aston Villa had suffered 2 relegations and were playing in the 3rd Division, Tier 3. And in this season, they finished 4th in the 3rd Division, Tier 3, but they did not win promotion because they finished 7 points behind 2nd place Fulham, who claimed the final promotion spot. Also this season saw Aston Villa, as a 3rd Division club, return to Wembley, where they played Tottenham Hotspur in the Football League Cup final, when unfortunately they lost by 2-0. And then the season after losing to Tottenham Hotspur in the League Cup final, Villa won promotion up to the 2nd Division Tier 2 by winning the 3rd Division Tier 3 title in the 1971-72 season, when they finished 5 points clear of 2nd place Brighton and Hove Albion and 8 points clear of 3rd place Bournemouth. And then in the 1972-73 season, Aston Villa secured a 3rd place finish in the 2nd Division Tier 2, but did not win promotion as they finished 11 points behind Queen's Park Rangers, who finished 2nd in the 2nd Division Tier 2, and QPR also claimed the final promotion spot that year. Also this season saw Aston Villa lose 1-0 to Manchester City in the FA Charity Shield at their Villa Park ground in Birmingham, in front of a crowd of just over 34,000 people. And then 2 years later, in the 1974-75 season, Villa finished 2nd in the 2nd Division Tier 2, when they finished 3 points behind Manchester United, but also 5 points above 3rd place Norwich City. And this was enough to see Villa promoted to the 1st Division Tier 1. Also in the 1974-75 season, Aston Villa went back to Wembley Stadium, where they won the League Cup by defeating Norwich City by 1-0, thanks to a goal from Ray Graydon in the 81st minute. This cup final to date is the only time that a domestic cup final has been contested by 2 teams from outside the top tier of English football. And then 2 years after this League Cup victory against Norwich, Aston Villa secured a 4th place finish in the 1st Division Tier 1, 6 points behind the league champions that season, Liverpool. And this season also saw Villa reach the League Cup final again, where they played Everton in the final, but they needed 2 replays were needed before a winner could be found. The first game played at Wembley ended in a 0-0 draw. The second game played at Hillsborough ended in a 1-1 draw. And then finally, the second replay, Aston Villa won by 3-2 when the goals came from Chris Nicholl and 2 from Brian Little, with the winner from Brian Little coming in the last minute of extra time. And then 4 years after the League Cup victory over Everton in the 1980-81 season, Villa won the First Division Tier 1 title by finishing 4 points clear at the top of the table. And then the next year, in the 1981-82 season, the club drew 2-2 with Tottenham Hotspur in the FA Charity Shield, which meant that Aston Villa and Tottenham shared the trophy for 6 months each. This season also saw Villa compete in the European Cup, and the club reached the final where they faced Bayern Munich at the Kuip Stadion in Rotterdam. And on their way to the final, Villa defeated who did they defeat? Hold on. Yeah, I seem to have lost the slide about who they defeated on the way to the finals. Never mind about that. I'm sorry about that, guys. Anyway, Aston Villa reached the European Cup final in Rotterdam, where they played Bayern Munich, and in front of a crowd of 46,000 people, they came up against West German giants Bayern Munich. Now, the interesting thing about this game was that Tony Barton, Aston Villa's manager when this final was played, had only taken over as manager before the quarterfinals after Ron Saunders surprisingly resigned. And after only 10 minutes of the game starting, disaster struck when their first choice goalkeeper, Jimmy Rimmer, suffered a repeat of a recurring shoulder injury, and he had to be replaced by reserve goalkeeper Nigel Spink, which meant he was only making his second appearance for Villa, and he went on to have a great performance in the game, and as a consequence, he went on to be the club's #1 goalkeeper for the next 10 seasons. Villa defeated Bayern Munich by 1-0 in the final, thanks to a goal from Peter Withe in the 67th minute. And then, as defending European champions, Villa were invited to play in the European Cup, the European Super Cup, and the Intercontinental Cup the following season. Their defence of the European Cup, though, ended in a quarter-final defeat to Michel Platini's inspired Juventus. They beat, but they lost 2-0 to Uruguay and Penarol for the Intercontinental Cup in Tokyo in Japan. Now, in the next slide, we can see a picture of the victorious European Cup winning Aston Villa side celebrating their European Cup triumph with the European Cup trophy. And then the next season, 1982-83, Aston Villa beat Barcelona 3-1 on aggregate to win the European Super Cup, a contest which was played over 2 legs. In the first leg, Barcelona won 1-0 thanks to a goal by Marcos Alonso in the 52nd minute. in the Camp Nou in Barcelona. And then the second leg in Villa Park, Birmingham, the game went to extra time after the match stood 1-0 to Villa and after 90 minutes, thanks to an 80th minute strike from Gary Shaw. And then in extra time, Villa scored twice more with goals from Gordon Sidney Cowans in the 100th minute and Ken McNaught in the 104th minute. And this was enough for them to win the match 3-0 and take the European Super Cup 3-1 on Aggregate. Then the 1982-83 season also saw Villa travel to Japan, as I mentioned earlier, to compete in the Intercontinental Cup, also known as the Toyota Cup, against Uruguayan champions and Copa Libertadores champions Peñarol. But unfortunately for the Villa, they were defeated by the Uruguayan opponents by 2-0, thanks to one goal in the first half and one in the second half. And then 4 years later, in the 1986-87 season, Villa were relegated to the second division Tier 2. And then in their first season in the second division in 1987-88, Villa won an automatic return to the first division Tier 1 when they finished 4 points 4 points behind the second division champions that season, Millwall. Villa won automatic promotion that season ahead of Middlesbrough by virtue of the fact that they scored 5 more goals than Middlesbrough, because both clubs finished equal on points and equal on goal difference. And then in the 1989-90 season, Villa finished 9 points behind league champions Liverpool to secure the runners-up spot in the first division Tier 2. And then 3 years later, in the 1992-93 season, Aston Villa spent most of the season challenging for the FA Premier League Tier 1 title and were top of the Premier League with 6 games left to play, but were eventually overhauled by manager Ron Atkinson's old club, Manchester United, and they finished the season as runners-up again, 10 points behind the league champions United. The next year, in that 1993-94 season, Villa returned to Wembley, where they faced Manchester United in the Football League Cup final, and Villa defeated Manchester United by 3 goals to 1, thanks to goals from Dalian Atkinson, who scored 1, and 2 from Dean Saunders. So 2 years later, in the 1995-96 season, Aston Villa finished 4th in the FA Premier League Tier 1, 19 points behind the league champions that year, Manchester United, and the club also defeated Leeds United to win the Football League Cup by 3-0. This was the second time in 3 years that Aston Villa had won the League Cup, and on this occasion they did it at Wembley Stadium yet again, in front of a crowd of 77,056, thanks to goals from Savo Milosevic, Ian Taylor and Dwight York. Following on from the 4th place finish in the Premier League and the club's Football League Cup triumph, Villa returned to Wembley Stadium in the 2000 FA Cup final, when they unfortunately lost by 1-0 to Chelsea, thanks to a winning goal from Chelsea's Roberto Di Matteo in the 73rd minute. 10 years later, in the 2009-10 season, Villa returned to Wembley Stadium to face Manchester United again in the League Cup final, when unfortunately they were defeated by 2-1. Then in the 2014-15 season, Villa again returned to Wembley for the FA Cup final, where they faced a high-flying Arsenal side who had finished third in the Premier League that season. And when the two sides had met previously in the Premier League that year, the games had resulted in comfortable victories for Arsenal. And this trend continued in the Cup final, when Arsenal inflicted a heavy defeat on Aston Villa by 4-0. The next year, in the 2015-16 season, Villa were relegated to the Championship Tier 2, and then 2 years after suffering this relegation, in the 2017-18 season, Villa finished fourth in the Football League Championship Tier 2, when they finished 16 points behind West Midlands rivals Wolverhampton Wanderers, but they were not promoted as they lost 1-0 to Fulham in the end of season Championship promotion playoff final. The following season, in 2018-19, Aston Villa were promoted back to the FA Premier League Tier 1 when they finished 5th in the Football League Championship Tier 2, 18 points behind second division champions Norwich, which meant that Aston Villa progressed to the end of season Championship playoff tournament. And in the semi-final that year, Villa defeated West Midlands rivals West Bromwich Albion 4-3 on penalties after the tie had ended 2-2 on aggregate. And then in the playoff final, which was played at Wembley Stadium, Villa defeated Derby County to win promotion back to the FA Premier League. Aston Villa then reached the League Cup final last season in the 2019-20 campaign, when unfortunately they lost by 2-1 to Manchester City at Wembley Stadium in front of a crowd of just over 82,000 people. Now, I managed to find this all-time Aston Villa 11 on the One Sports One website. And as always, I'd love to hear your comments and views, opinions about this team. Do you have an all-time 11 of your own? If so, please put these views or teams in the comments section of the video. And if you have any interesting stories that you can share about Aston Villa, please put that in the comments section of the video too. It would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Anyway, so on to the all-time Aston Villa 11 as put together by the One Sports One website. In goal, they went with Nigel Spink, a centre-back pairing of Paul McGrath and Alan Evans, a left-back of Charlie Aitken and Stan Lynn, and then a midfield of Tony Morley, Gordon Cowans, Dennis Mortimer, Peter McFarland, and then up front there was Peter With and Billy Walker. Yeah, so that team looks pretty good, really. I particularly like the centre-back pairing of Paul McGrath and Alan Evans. Alan Evans, when I was a kid, I know that I remember my dad talking about him because he was an ex-Dunfermline Athletic player, and he always spoke very favourable about him. And I know my dad's mate Sandy. I hope you're watching, Sandy. He talked favourably about him, and I think he even met him once, and he was able to let my dad's mate hold the European Cup, so that was pretty cool. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to hearing your comments about the all-time 11 from Aston Villa. Okay, well, sadly, everyone, that's the end of today's show. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it nice and interesting and it kept you entertained for a little while. As I said in the video, please remember, if you have any greatest ever Aston Villa teams and you want to share them, please put it in the comments section of the video, or if you've got any comments or opinions about the team that I put in the video of Aston Villa's greatest ever 11. I'd be really interested to hear them. That would be absolutely amazing. Or even if you've got any other stories about Aston Villa that you'd like to share, that would be fantastic too. But anyway, but please, before you go, like I said, if you haven't done so already, please like and share the video. That would be absolutely amazing, and it really, really help me to grow this channel up. Now, anyway, but apart from any of that, apart from any of that, and much more important to me, is that please make sure you spread some love, happiness, and friendship and compassion around the world, and let's help each other and make sure that we get out of this mess that we're in. Anyway, please take care of yourselves, look after each other, and I'll be back again on today. So the next one's next week on Wednesday. I'll be back again with another video for you. So anyway, until then, please keep talking and take care. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.